Hi, everyone. I'm Uzma Berlasker, co-founder and CEO of PatternEQ. PatternEQ is an analytics software that simplifies data science and makes it accessible to everyone. Data is the new gold. In the new data-driven economy, every job will require data analysis. And companies that can empower their employees to easily mine the data will be the ones that succeed. But today, there's a data divide inside companies between people who have the skills to mine data and everybody else who are scared of big data and the deluge of data that's coming their way. They can ask a question, but then they need a data engineer to collate the data and clean it, and then a data scientist to analyze the data, build models, and then programmers to implement those models, and finally, you can have your insights. From question to insight, it can take several weeks, and especially if you're a small company, it can be extremely expensive to hire data scientists, data engineers, and set up this whole pipeline. Compounding this problem is the fact that today all our data is fragmented across different services. Analytics data in Mixpanel, payments data in Stripe, and so on. Data is in silos. And it's only going to get worse as we embrace more and more services in the near future. I face the same problem as a product manager myself, working at a small video advertising company. I had a simple question. What factors influence video viewing rates? And I couldn't answer that question myself without depending on this tedious, broken, and slow process. That's when I decided to start PatternEQ to empower everyone with data science skills. PatternEQ unifies all your data by connecting to all your different services and lets you extract patterns out of it automatically. Let's show you how we do it. So over here, we have data from Nino, a music subscription service, similar to Spotify. What PatternEQ did was bring in all their data from their payment services, from their marketing channels, social channels, and so on, to create a 360-degree view of all their customers. So imagine I'm an analyst in Nino, and I have a question. Given that it's a music subscription service, I want to know what factors influence subscription rates. It's as simple as you select the column, subscription status, which has data about all the active and canceled subscribers, and you click the predictions button. What it does behind the scenes is finds out the influencing factors that affect subscription status. It builds the model automatically. As you see, it picked up 8 factors. And if we look at the top one, we see that engagement of subscribers with Facebook pages of musicians is a critical indicator of their likelihood to stay with Nino. The second factor says that the number of playlists created inside Nino is a top factor. So if you have a higher number of playlists is higher, you're more likely to stay. And the third factor is coupon usage. If you've signed on to Nino using a coupon, you're very likely to cancel. So as you can imagine, I can now improve my targeting on Facebook, give feedback to my product team to make it easier to create playlists and discover playlists, and rethink my pricing structure by using this model. But there's more to it. This model can actually predict how your future subscribers can behave. So what we're going to do is we'll upload data about current subscribers. The model was created using data from last quarter, so I'm going to upload data of this quarter's subscribers where I don't know whether they're going to cancel or not. And PatternEQ is going to tell me who has the highest likelihood of canceling the service. So PatternEQ is generating the predictions. What it's doing behind the scenes is scoring every customer about their likelihood of leaving Nino or staying with Nino. So as you see, it's pulled up all these predictions on the column, the prediction percentage active column. And if we sort it, we can find out the at-risk customers. So over here, these customers have only 0.35% likelihood of staying with Nino, and Nino should definitely reach out to them. Let's show you one more way of looking at the data. So I'm an analyst. I want to know what ways I can actually segment my data and look at different groups that behave similarly. Again, it's as simple as you click on the segments button, and what it's doing behind the scenes is clustering your data to find groups that behave similarly. So it picked up a few segments. On the right, you also see that it gives you the features it used. You can even turn off the features. For example, I already know that Facebook likes and playlist created matters, so I'm going to turn it off so that I can see new features that come up. Let's refresh the segments. And what we see is PatternEQ is going to create a new set of segments. It created a new set. That big group still remains there, so I'm curious about it. So let's click on that. So if you scroll down, it also tells you why this group is similar. So their music sharing behavior, if you scroll down again, please, is very similar. 92% of them have the same music sharing behavior. And that's, if you look at the graph above, the blue bar tells you about this group, and the black bar tells you about the rest of the population. So they are highly likely to use peer-to-peer services. So as you can imagine, an analyst coming into the service can get deep insights that typically require you to be a data scientist or depend on a data scientist. Can we move to the slide deck, please? Yes. So we are a SaaS service. We make it super simple for you to use predictive insights, and we start at a very affordable rate of $1,000 per month that increases based on your volume. And today we are super excited to invite you all to experience the power of data science yourself by signing up for beta access at beta.patterneq.com. Thank you.
All right. Judges?
Sure, congratulations on your beta. What's your secret sauce?
It's the automation part. So what's happening behind the scenes is that, think of it as a data scientist in a box. A data scientist goes through a number of steps whenever you give them data. So it's doing the same thing. It's using artificial intelligence and statistical tests to figure out when you give data, what distribution it is, what is the right model to pick, and it's picking that model and giving it back to the user. So the user doesn't have to figure out, is it a regression model, is it a naive Bayes, is it a clustering model? They just focus on the question and the insights, which we think is the power of this model.
When would I graduate off your platform? Like, when would I graduate off your platform? Like, is there a target market? If I don't know, if Mark Zuckerberg were sitting here and said, gosh, I really need to understand how Facebook ads are performing, would you be an appropriate product for him, or who are you appropriate for?
So we are targeting small businesses. We do see that even in large companies, departments like marketing or support, which don't have access to data scientists, also could use it. But right now, we are targeting small businesses. We do not think that there's a graduating point, because we see that data scientists are creating, say, recommendation systems. They don't like answering ad hoc queries, and this is really meant for business analysts who are looking at their business day in, day out, want to have questions that they want answers for, and that's when they use this product.
Do you see your business selling technology or service or both?
Sorry, I didn't.
Are you, in addition to technology, are you providing service, or are you simply just providing technology?
We are providing, it's basically, think of it as a data science as a service.
Yeah.
We don't want to do additional services on top apart from the basic support, because I think the power of it is in the self-service platform where you can ask questions and get insights back. And that's how it can scale, really. Because if it becomes a services model, scaling becomes very hard.
Yeah, that was my next question. Are you?
Yeah, it becomes like, Palantir type model where you need high revenue to justify the services.
Okay.
As a former marketing person, I get really excited about things that allow a marketing person to go around an IT department. So it sounds like you're really solving a big problem. I'm curious what you've learned from that might be surprising to us from your beta users so far. Yeah,
I think actually what we've learned, and we've added those features back into the product, is that really the hardest part is actually getting the data all into the same place. People have a hard time getting a unified view of their data. And actually, when we started, we didn't have that part, and then we added it later to make it easier for pulling data from Mixpanel, from Stripe, to create a unified view. We found that that's super important. The other part, we found that people are still early in terms of their understanding of predictive analytics. There's, of course, a lot of the big companies that have done a lot. So there's some amount of education necessary when we go and pitch to them.
How do you compare with sort of a Tableau or a Domo or some of the people that are targeting the top of and are advanced companies with a lot more resources?
Yeah.
What's the right use for them, and what's the right use for you?
Yeah. So Tableau is focused only on visualization. They don't do any predictive analytics. Even though the graphs sometimes look similar, that's just it. So you can't predict something using Tableau. The second part with Domo is a BI tool. They do kind of solve the problem of bringing in together a lot of different data sources, but they don't, again, do predictive analytics. Our tool is specifically meant to do predictive stuff. If you want to predict churn, you want to predict email conversion rates, if you want to know more about users that cluster together, so those kind of insights that are more data science focused, are what you can use.
And can you talk more about the technology? I'm trusting you with my data, or am I running? Is this software that I'm running locally on my own infrastructure?
No, it's a SaaS service. And initially, when we started out, we did look at the market, whether an installed solution works best or SaaS. So the target market we're going after, it's hard for them to set up, say, a Hadoop cluster and set up Spark and all those things. So we take care of all of that. So you just focus on the service. We decide the best technologies, especially because the ecosystem is changing fast. So we can give you the best of the breed, and you just focus on your question and insights.
But where does the data get to, and where does it come from? Like, if these are big, giant data sources.
Yeah.
Am I moving it all to your cloud somehow?
Yeah. So you can just upload files if you want, if you're really small and you just have Excel files. Or you can connect us through your APIs with Mixpanel, Stripe, etc. So all of that goes into a rule engine through which it comes into our servers. And then we build those models on top of that. So it resides on our servers. But if you want to delete it, you can delete it. And you can also choose which events you want to pull into our servers as well.
So the demonstration looked like a fairly well-established, sort of a flat report that I'd already done. But you said all the data in one place. Where do the joins or the connections or relations between each of those sources come into play?
Yeah. So we do it in the rule engine. We didn't show it because it's a little more involved. So what happens is you give us the keys to your, say, Mixpanel and, say, to your Stripe account. And then you use a unique ID. Usually it's a customer ID. Or if it may be, depending on what you want to track, it could be a company ID, whatever you want to track. And we use that to build in all the different data sources and create one unified view.
How long does that sort of data massaging piece take? If I have a whole bunch of different platforms, some of which you know about, some of which might be my own custom solution, like how hard is that? How hard is the hard part?
Yeah, it's a hard problem. I mean, there's no kind of second guessing that. What we've done is we've constrained it in a way that we can move slowly and kind of corner more and more use cases. So the way we've done it is basically focusing on services, companies that use a lot of different services, because their data is more structured and it's not as crazy. When we did our pilots, we saw that some companies have crazy data, and it's best to do that after you reach a particular scale when you can invest more into that. So that's how we've contained the problem.
So we're out of time. You guys did a great job. That was PatternEQ.